Hi, Aaron. Welcome to the show. So happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me today. Look forward to it.
So I love your story, Aaron, behind, how you started the Eco Plumbers and, that essentially 15 years ago, you were bankrupt, you had to move back home and essentially start fresh again. I'm curious for our listeners who, maybe they're going through their own challenges, their own stressful times. How do you find that resilience? Or how did you find it at that time in your life?
Yeah, so I think there's many different ways to find kind of what drives you, and I've always wanted to achieve something. I think it was built in me in some way because I'd started a business and it went bankrupt, as you mentioned, and I know some people have heard my story in general, but you know, it I lost everything, lost my home, lost jobs, lost my car, everything you could think of, like flat broke. Back at my mom's house around age of 28 years old. And I think for me it was a lot of internal, like I want to move. But the reality is it came down to, as a single dad, and my son was 3 years old, and he was sleeping on the couch there with me on the weekends or the time I had him. And I just remember holding him up and just looking at him saying, I promise you this won't be your life. Like, and then just got to work. And I think that was the first real step in the direction of resilience, right? Like I want to do this for myself, but I also want to do it for him to prove that we're going to have a better life. Like, we're not going to live this way, right?
Yeah.
Going to get back up and move and show him that, that's, what the American dream or the dream of life should be about, right? Is you can become whatever you want to become if you're really willing to do it, right? And I think that's mostly what it comes down to, is like the will. You have the will to do it.
Mm, that's awesome. Yeah, and I think, sometimes when we go through darker periods in our lives, it's sometimes easier to stay there for a while. So I think it's incredible that you were able to pick things up. And I mean, we fast forward to today, you guys are at 200 employees, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. We just hit like 200 for going into this year, doing 30 million in plus, like 30 million in revenue in plumbing.
Yeah.
And we just broke 100 trucks just the other day, officially in the fleet on the road. So we're at
Congratulations.
15 years later. So yeah, thank you. It's been a lot of hard work from a lot of people involved. And my sister, who's an HR manager, is with us today, who has helped me start the business. My one of our service managers, Braun, who I've known since we were, I think, 16 years old, has been on the team too, and is still on the team today.
Yeah.
So their growth and their support, and our CFO, Mike, who's been on the team for 8 years now, came on and really helped us out. And many other people that have been on this team now for years and years and years have all contributed to our growth and to their growth, which is all, the personal development they've had along the way and the growth that they've had and the challenges that we've had to come up against to
Mhm.
grow a service business from nothing to something today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you mentioned, some of those key roles in your business now. As you were growing, I guess, how did you figure out the timeline of like when to make certain hires?
I didn't. I didn't like. I mean, you try to understand like like staffing modeling. So you try to educate yourself on that. You read, obviously, we all try to read business books and what that looks like. How many people should one person manage? I'm a member of Nextstar, so Nextstar is a huge, huge, huge part for me too, because it gave you a lot of tools that you just don't have. So I'd say, to answer the question, I was like, I didn't really know. Like, Nextstar helped me, right? And
Right.
that's about having a company, right? And I think anybody that's in any industry, it doesn't matter where it is, join a peer group or a group that's at it, whether you're in roofing or plumbing or garage door, whatever. Everybody's got an opportunity somewhere to join a group somewhere, and you should, because that's where I learned from them. And I had a great business coach, Jim Hamilton, who I just, was just amazing to me. And he just shared his life experience and said, this is about where this happened. This is what we see. Members say this. I met other members. They're like, well, I screwed this up. Don't do that. This time. And that's where I started to really understand most of it. It was just listening to their stories, talking, asking questions, and started to understand, well, by this many people, you should have this many CSRs, right? It's like by this many, like, so there's math
Right.
equations to kind of ratio out, which then show up on your balance sheet. But at the time when you're growing, you don't really know that. You're trying to run calls, you're just trying to do work and hope everything works out, right? And you're just kind of moving forward. So you don't know until you know. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the key is like you start to understand, then you start to understand your own bandwidth. Like, am I able to support people? Do I feel like I'm falling behind? Am my retention off because I'm not actually able to have a relationship with the people that work with me? I mean, these are
Right.
times that you should start to really start to say, I need to hire somebody else to do something, or
Mm.
mistakes are happening too much, right? So I think those are other quick indicators that you just don't have the capacity to do all of it as
Yeah.
much as you work. And I mean, I'm all about working hard. I mean, I still do today.
Yeah.
Uh, but there's a point where, starts to get away from you a little bit. So to answer the question, I guess, is you learn along the way, and then you work in the right industry to understand each industry's kind of industry standard. How many techs would you have? Like for us, we one CSR should be able to book enough leads for 6 techs, right? That's kind of
Right.
a base model. So just kind of knowing those types of things, when to start hiring and how many managers do you need to have for how many field? We look at somewhere around 10 to 15 field service techs for a manager.
Mm.
So just kind of there, depending on the manager's bandwidth. So
Yeah.
hopefully that answers some of the question you're asking there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Nextstar has been a big part of your growth and having these mentors and stuff in your life that can show you the path. I guess for your team now, as you have more managers and more people in higher positions within the company, how do you help them grow and evolve?
So being available, try to be available, be authentic, be honest. I mean, I think part of the growth is also being honest when you don't know. Like I've never ran a company that's going to be $40 million this year.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like to run a $40 million company. I have no idea. I've never done it. How can I tell everybody how to do something I've never done either?
Hmm.
But we can do it together. We can figure it out together, right? We can learn together, and whatever those opportunities are to learn together is that's how you try to support her. I think John Maxwell tries to get in really well is like building level 3, level 4, and hopefully becoming a level 5 leader, which more level 5 leaders, right? And that's leaders building leaders. Is something that I'm still trying to figure out. I don't have that figured out, but the one thing is we do try to get at least 3s and 4s in
Yeah.
leadership style, right? And I think once you kind of start to understand that it's really about supporting the people that work for you and answering their questions or hearing what they are, and then help them go find that or help discover it together. That's the best way you can support them, and self-educate yourself too. I had a question asked a long time ago when we were talking about the growth for $100 million. They said, well, what do you think is going to hold you back? And I said, me. Like,
Hmm.
that's it. I'm the only person that will hold this whole thing back. So
Yeah.
like, and it's either how much I personally grow with the team and I let others grow, right? So you are the cog in it. If you don't do and you don't grow and you don't go out and learn and read and spend time around other great businesses that are larger than you, if you're $1 million, you spend time with a $3 or $4 million company, right? If you're 4 or 5 million, you should be with $8 or $10 million company. Keep working your way up. Don't go, well, I'm 3. I'm going to go try to visit a $40 million business because it's great to maybe get a viewpoint quickly, but it's so far bandwidth between that you're not going to work your way through the layers. Everybody wants to jump fast, but it's just
Right.
understanding, learning. And so many people allow me to come visit their locations and do stuff. And I mean, I've just read bookshelves behind me here, and I can't see them with the way it screens, but just lots and lots of books to try to educate. So I have
Hmm.
something when somebody brings something up to dig into back in the memory to hopefully say, oh, this was here, or oh, I remember this in a book here, or oh, I remember this from a podcast I listened to, or just try to share stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do.
Yeah, I love that. And I know you've said before, that, like you said, you're the limit to the success of the business. I guess, are there ever times that you find yourself in a little bit of a rut or like, I don't
Yeah.
know, I imagine throughout the periods of growing the company, there must be times of self-doubt or, that are a little bit challenging.
Well, I think, most people, I mean, we're humans, right? I don't, I mean, you got to believe in yourself. And, you say, I know I can do this. Like I said, the will to do it does that will doesn't come with self-doubt sometime? I mean, of course it does. I mean, the greatest
Yeah.
athletes in the world probably still have self-doubt every once in a while. If you didn't, then you wouldn't be pushing yourself past that limit, right?
Yeah.
But you believe that you're going to get it figured out and get going and work through it. Yeah, there's been ruts. There's been times here it's just been like, geez, it just feels like we can't get out of our own way on some things, right? You just started getting a little exhausted. You're like, everything we do is just like, why does this seem to happen? Why are we like, you just keep going back to the drawing board, just, over and over, just be willing to solve the problem. Like, no matter how long it takes, just keep getting back to the drawing board, try to stay excited about solving it.
Mm.
Uh, that will get you out of the rut. At least I have our step back. Like I had to step back recently and just kind of say, all right, I need to step back a little bit. I'm so far into the business that I'm in it so much right now that I'm not working on it for a while.
Yeah.
And I had to step back and kind of just readjust my own viewpoint last year a little bit because we were having a year of growth and doing stuff, but I felt like there was things that we just could have done better, and
Mm.
I didn't do a great job, and I had to step back and kind of look at that and reflect on myself and reflect from the organization, just kind of look back and say, okay, what is it, right? So I think reflection will help you get out of that rut, and then put a plan together. Like you got to have a plan. If you're just showing up every day and you're just getting hit with stuff, like you're never going to get out of it. Like build a plan, know when to say yes and know when to say no.
Mm. Yeah. Awesome. And I know,
And everybody gets their butts whooped. I mean, that's just life, man.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's gonna be.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And I think that's important to remember too, when we talk to successful people like yourself, sometimes, we think that they don't have the same struggles, but I think it's good to hear that, you know, everybody
I think
has
people think
those
that somebody
moments.
says like everything opens up for you, like every door just opens up. Like no, and the harder you work, the luckier you get. That's part of it. As long as you're working on the right hard stuff, by the way, too.
Yeah.
Right stuff, but you will get luckier. You do. The more hours you put in, the more time you read, the more you work with people, the more conversations you have, the luckier you will get along the way, which does open up more doors.
Hmm. Absolutely. So let's talk about the right stuff then. How do you make sure that, your team and all of you, all 200 of you are moving towards the same end goal?
Well, that's a great question because this is really was a challenge for us coming in this year because biggest team we've ever had,
Yeah.
more departments. Some of our departments now are, used to be our business, right? Like, so we'd always do a 1 and a 3 year and a 10-year plan, and we still do that for the high level organization. And I think where we started this year, and our teams are worked on it more, and some departments have done more with it. We're still wrapping some up, but is giving every department their own 1 year plan. So instead of looking at like the business as a whole, so we roll out a 1 year plan, we give people the budget. These are a high level. This is where we're going to go this year. This is where we're going to go in the next 3 years. So like our 3 year organic growth is 65 million. We tell them that, we tell them the layers of that. What do we think each department should be contributing to? And then we lay out the 1 year plan. This year's 40 million. I think we can beat that. And then what is that by department? And then what I've done now is I just turn that number over to them and a few of the high level things like we want to have retention at X this year. We're going to have this many students in our school, and then we turn that over to the department leads, managers, frontline. And say, well, if every department said, well, build your 1 year plan. What does it look like? What do you want to do? What do you want to do inside that to make this work? What's your vision of this department from what the vision we gave you from a higher level of an organization? Now, how can you attach your vision to that also, right? So they have ownership and they own that. Now, they don't just get, here's $13.5 million. Go do that, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we give them other KPIs and do stuff. It's like, well, how would you make that happen? What would be your vision of this department to be successful in doing that?
Mm.
And this year has really been powerful by having people do it. And it's actually unfolded some things for them that they just never really thought and saw before. It's like, it's made their long-term planning easier. It's made them feel a better viewpoint of the year. They can understand their quarterly rocks. They can, plant, they just know, and now they start to think about the business and think about it as theirs,
Right.
which I think is really broad level. And then they can go talk to their field techs and other people that are involved and share then you go down to their level and say, well, what's your 1 year plan individual as a technician, right? What do you want to see
Mm.
this year? What do you want to do? So I think that's really been the key is vision.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to share a vision with people. Like, why would they want to work at your organization if they don't know where you're going and what you're doing? It's not, and it has to have some detail to it. It doesn't have to be a long business plan. Ours is really simple. It's, a couple of high level metrics, five to eight like bullet points on it, like really high level bullet points to share it, and we describe it as we go. But that's been the key, and we've done it for years and years, and every year, um, it's fun to do. It can be somewhat cumbersome these days as the business got bigger. But at the same time, once we kind of were like, hey, let's let everybody start building their own in their departments, everything from marketing to HR to everyone. It's like, wow, everybody just got super engaged even more. Because there's this thing I heard once before is like, when do people check out? And it's like, well, if I say a number to you, when do you check out, right? It's like, if I said 500,000 to you, okay, maybe that's not a big deal. Like, I can see how I help in 500. Then I said 1.5. Then I said 5 million. I said 10. I said 50 million. I said 100 million. 500 million. A billion. When does somebody just start to,
Yeah.
so you got to bring it all like high level and then bring it all the way down to everybody so they know how they contribute and be part of the team.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the idea of, really involving your team in the process so that they have that ownership over the outcome and what needs to happen.
Yeah, even if you have a small team of 4 people, like get them involved, ask them what they think, right?
Yeah.
Give them some leadership responsibility. Say, hey, why don't you think about this over here? We want to add, 5 people to this department. What would we do? How would we do it?
Mm, yeah, I love that. So from a practical, like day-to-day standpoint, how do you keep connected with your team and how do you maintain that team
We have
culture?
we have a manager's huddle. So how about this? Every day, every department has a huddle,
Mm,
a 15-minute huddle what the managers do with all their front line. So every day there's a huddle. Everybody's on the huddle. They go through KPIs yesterday. They'll talk about any challenges briefly, just check in with individuals, share a story from yesterday, whatever it is. So quick check-ins always going on, keeping engagement so they're just not like lost out there in the world of running calls and showing up customer houses. So checking in there. Then we have a manager huddle every day at 8:30 where we have all the managers check in at 8:30, go over basically similar thing, KPIs, what happened, what did we do yesterday, where are we pacing this week, where are we pacing to the month, any challenges, leads, opportunities, what can we do to work together this week, take care of some people, right? Do we help some customers, anything we can do this week that we haven't done? Any of those types of top conversations all happen, keeping people engaged, thinking, challenging each other. And then from there, they go out and go execute the day. We just repeat. It's every day. It's discipline, it's clockwork, right? So I think
mm,
that helps keep engagement. And, you have to change it up a little bit in there because it does, you don't want to get redundant. We do, and then we do other things. We do like monthly spin to wins and challenges and awards. We give out awards for core values. So there's a lot of other layers. We do food trucks that come, try to just, sometimes we throw things in that are just for, hey, thank you. And then
yeah.
sometimes there's things that we do because like you've earned it. So yeah, I think being
Mm,
balanced of those two to make sure people know the difference of the two, because if you just start doing stuff all the time, they just kind of like expect it,
right.
which you should do stuff for your team as a cultural thing. It's like, I'm doing
Totally.
this because I appreciate you and I'm doing this because we achieved something. Like, I
Mm,
think that was something I learned along the way is like, you have to identify the difference of them. Because I
right.
have these 5 disciplines of execution up here. It's like, what's the mission? What are the KPIs? Where's the visual scoreboard? Up the level of accountability. And last is celebrate.
Yeah.
Like, you have to celebrate when you achieve these things, right? You got to celebrate it. So finding things to celebrate. And there's many other
Mm,
things our team does, to engage culturally wise with them. I mean, we have Milwaukee Tools come and bring the big semi trucks with all the tools. We have Red Wing Boots coming to do a boot. We do boot voucher things, so all the guys can check in boots and have Red Wing come and size all the boots here for them that we're getting ready to roll out in April. So, I mean, there's all types of things. We do stuff with Nationwide Children's Hospital. We do stuff with the Mid Ohio Food Bank. So a lot of things just always happening to keep people engaged in some level, without it getting confusing too.
yeah. Yeah. I love that. That's so cool. I'm sure your team loves it too. It sounds like
Yeah, they
a
do.
great
They
place
do.
to
I mean, we'll
work.
do like here, like there's a wings place called Roosters, and we've done like Rooster Weeks. Like we're just like we just talk to Rooster and roosters and we say, hey, any of our guys come in, here's a code. They can get lunch all week on us
Yeah.
anytime. Right? Everybody loves roosters around this area.
Yeah. Fantastic. So, thinking through the last few years and the significant levels of growth that you guys have achieved, are there changes that you've had to make personally as a leader in terms of like how you how you approach things or how your role has evolved?
Yeah, I mean, I think you want to be real to who you are still, but also realize that life is about reinventing yourself, right? So at the moment that I was bankrupt and didn't have anything, I had to reinvent myself. Like,
Mm.
it started there. It started much, and I watched my mom reinvent herself as a single mother, with 3 kids, and had to struggled and went back to school and got a degree and was working multiple jobs trying to reinvent herself. Uh, and I think that's what it's about. I mean, it's you have to reinvent yourself, but you have to know how what to reinvent yourself into too, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
well, what do I need to be? If you want to be the CEO of your organization and lead it as a CEO, then you have to understand what it takes to be a CEO.
Mm.
Uh, it can be different types of CEO. It doesn't mean you have to be one type of CEO, right? There's different types of people that do different things, but you have to decide who that's going to be and then reinvent yourself into that
Yeah.
as you go along without taking away from who you really are either. So yeah, I've had to reinvent myself. I've had to pick my game up in areas. I've had to learn to be more organized with things that I may not have been before. I've had to learn numbers and other things that I weren't maybe areas that I always knew. I mean, you don't know them. You're a plumber by trade, right? I'm a plumber by trade. I had to go learn these things. So you have to constantly be reinventing yourself and be open minded to things and realize that you're going to have to hear different conversations, different viewpoints, and you start bringing on CFOs and CTOs and operations managers and marketing people from other industries, and you're talking to vendors and these large, like you have to be informed enough to be able to have the educated conversation. You don't
Yeah.
have to be an expert, but you have to be informed, and that's why you go find the right people to bring on your team. I know everybody says we just hire the right people. Well, how do you know they're the right people if you don't have enough information yourself to value to challenge their ideology or thoughts too, right? So
Yeah.
just because they say they're the right people, like you need to know that they are by being insightful, asking questions, and being willing to dive into areas that you're uncomfortable with and
Mm.
ask them. Because if they can teach you it, then they're the right people.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. So,
So that's been leading meetings at different ways and being able to get out in front of the team and tell them when you screw up and made a bad decision for the business. I
mm,
think those are things you have to overcome. Like you have to be able to step up in front of 200 people at some point and say, you know what, I own it. I made a mistake here, guys, and we got to figure it out.
yeah.
And this is my plan to try to do it. And you just those are things that really changed over time.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you take the approach that, you're really kind of in the trenches with them, you're all working together as
Yeah,
opposed to, a
when
boss. That's,
COVID hit, like yeah. Well, when COVID hit, I mean, I made a policy to myself and Barbara, our dispatch manager. We both said, "There's no way that we won't be here every day if we expect our technicians to show up to houses."
yeah. Yeah.
So we never missed a day.
Wow.
Like so, I mean, people had to work remote sometimes and do stuff, but that was mine because I'm a tech. I'm a plumber. I did what they
Yeah.
did, and I'm if they're going to go out there and do that to make sure that we're working, do stuff, I'm going to be here every day to help support them, and we did that, right? And that's I think important. It's about being in the trenches as much as you can. I mean, I don't get to be down on the front line as much, but I have been working my way to trying to get more managers in place to support them, so I can go spend time more on the floor per se to find out what's going on, so I can help fix it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's important. Cool. Hmm. So as you look forward to, hitting that $40 million mark and growing beyond that, what do you see, in the short term being some of your challenges or obstacles between where you are now and where you want to go?
Execution. I mean, it comes down to that. I know everybody can throw that around, but it's really executing. Like it really just comes down to executing. We've got the knowledge as an organization. I mean, we always can learn more and do, but we know what we understand what we need to do. We've got a good strategy. We have a plan. We've laid it out. Can we get it done? Right?
Mm.
Can we execute it? Can we stay disciplined to those things? Can we challenge ourselves to say, not to get squirrely over here and do this and do these other things, like stay that course. So I think it really comes just discipline as we move along here. Like it's got to be discipline with execution. Like you have to execute. And I told our team this year, like this year for us is all about execution. Like we have to execute on the things that we fell short on last year. We have to execute on things that will allow us to build into our 3-year plan. If we don't do them this year, our 3-year plan is going to fall short. If our 3-year plan is falling short, then our 10-year plan falls short. So we have to execute, and that's it. We have to organize our business and organize each other. Was really the big message to our management team. And this year was organizing each other, organizing our team, more people to manage and have relationships with. What does that look like? What kind of meeting rhythms do we have to have? What kind of level 10 meetings do we need to have? Who needs to be there? How's our training programs work? What training do we need to give? We have a learning development coordinator now. What trainings do we need to execute on to teach people? What kind of leadership classes do we need to do? Like all these things that companies growing. So it really is just coming down to executing on all those things at the end of the day. And I know that sounds, you hear people always say execute, but let's be honest, that's the most thing most people fall short on is discipline and execution. It's like,
Yeah.
it's easy to be like, maybe I'll just do that tomorrow, or I'll follow up on that later, or well, we did the huddle today. I didn't really like it. I don't want to do it tomorrow. It's like, no, you got to do it every day. Like it has to happen
Right.
every day. If the level 10 meeting that you have with your manager sucked on last Monday, we'll figure out how to make it better next Monday so it doesn't suck again. Right. Like it's just,
Yeah.
and it will suck sometimes. I say that because it's reality. Sometimes you have meetings that are just bad.
Yeah.
And then some meetings are like, boom, like you have 3 of them in a row. It's like, wow, man, things move. We hit a rhythm. Right. And that's okay because that's what's going to happen. So just trying to get yourself back up and execute at it every day to improve.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think as entrepreneurs too, we don't always have discipline all the time because sometimes it's, a shiny thing or we get bored. So I think that's an important reminder to, build those habits that are gonna take you to your next success.
Yeah, and pick what you're going to do. I think I've been down that path. My first business, we were doing plumbing, HVAC, and electrical. We were doing construction. We were doing this. We are doing like a little bit of everything. And then even when I got back to plumbing, I was like started dabbling a little bit this, that, and finally I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do plumbing. Like
Yeah.
that's it. Until I win that and earn the right to do something else, then I'll do something else. And now we're starting to add HVAC this year because we had a market share percentage. We said if we become this size at this number, now we've earned the right to do something else.
Right. Amazing. Congratulations. That's exciting.
Thanks.
But yeah, I
But
think
you're
that's a good point. It's difficult to focus on one thing, but that's what makes the biggest impact. So tell me a little bit more about the school. I know that a lot of companies are, one of the bottlenecks to growth is having people that are able to do the work. So you guys opened a school. Let's hear about that.
Yeah, we last year in October, right before October, we went out and visited Chad Peterman. I think you talked to him on here, but we went out visiting him in Indiana. He had started up a school out there. We went and visited and talked to him. Something we wanted to do. So in October, we visited him. We right after that, we had rented a space already and about 5,000 square foot place. Between October and January 1, our team got all after it, made it all happen. They recruited students for it. They built the school out. They built platform training facility. We work with Nextstar, Next Tech on Blind. We've got a dean to come in. We call him the dean because we have Eco University is actually what it's called. So we got a dean. He's a sergeant major for 20 years, and then he was in the school system teaching for like 20 years. So
Wow.
this guy's been around. He's awesome. And then we got one of our plumbers to be a technical trainer for us, and took off. We just got to work. We never ran a school. Like running a school is a lot different than just running your business, right? So now
Yeah.
we have a school. It's like, so now we have a school. We got trained people to become plumbers, and really our plan was to keep training plumbers in 16 weeks, 14 to 16 weeks, enough that you could do a T3 kind of style calls. We call it T3 level tech, that can go out and take care of miscellaneous repairs and build training. And then we have ways to come back around and do more training. So we do that right now. It's been amazing. It's been something I wanted to do too, because as being a plumber by trade, and it's all I've ever done since I graduated high school, is like I want to get back to a trade that saved my life and has given me many opportunities. And I mean, the trades are, amazing. And I think we need to bring more people in the trades. And I think anybody that's out there that has the resources or the ability to bring people into the trades, or build a school, or support a training program, you should do it. There's a shortage. There has been. We've known this coming for a decade. This isn't like new information. But I think finally people have started stepping up, and including myself finally, and stepped up and said, you know what, then we're not going to quit making excuses. We're going to go out and create new labor instead of exchanging labor. And I think that was one of my topics of our team, is like, I don't want to exchange labor anymore. Everybody's just exchanging labor. Like, we're not doing anything to actually help build the infrastructure to support the demand of our community and our industry. So we did that, and our team did it. They're the ones that made it happen. Did an amazing job. So we graduated. We had 3 classes last year. We graduated, I think, just a little over 50 people out of the program last year, and we just had 20 just come out, and they get trucks right away. So when they're done, they go through the training program. We have a tool agreement with Milwaukee, who's been amazing to us, by the way. And some other Navi and Tankless and Bradford White and other people have been great supports to our program. But they know when they get done, they're paid to learn. They're learning at the trade. When they get out, we have a truck, as long as we get trucks right now. But we've been able to get trucks. We have a truck. We have it sitting there wrapped, ready to go. Most of the time, they're brand new. It has their name in the window. It says future rock star so and so's name. We have them sitting out there. It's really amazing. We've seen technicians taking pictures in front of their trucks and excited for their future opportunities and careers. And it's been a cool experience to see us growing and growing people in the trade. So that's really high level of it. And now we've started working with some of the school district, Hilliard City Schools here, has came and talked to us about, and some other people about integrating this into their program and seeing what we can do as we go into our second year of this program.
Amazing. I bet that's very rewarding as well, to kind of take someone
Yeah, it
from
is. I'd say,
scratch and build them up. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it is. It's probably one of the more rewarding things we've done. I mean, we've done some great things for like the food bank and the hospitals and do stuff, and those are great for people in need. But the rewarding to say, hey, we've given this young person an opportunity in a career that they can earn a really great living at. Because most people think plumbers don't make that much money. I mean, most of our plumbers are service plumbers making over $100,000 a year, right? Like, pretty good living without any college degree, any college money or spend out. So it is rewarding to see people come and change their lives. I mean, we have guys go back and tell the story of where they were 2 years ago with us before we had the school and where they are today. And people that were in the school the first round are already going back. It's cool. It's really, really great to see.
Love that. So, Aaron, I know that this interview has been jam-packed with amazing insights, so I really appreciate you sharing those. Any last words of wisdom for contractors, home service business owners who are listening to this now and looking to grow their company?
Well, I might sound like a broken record on this one, but I use this a lot. So I use it here at my office. I use it on other podcasts or places I spoke before. But I just remember, you heard me say earlier, the will to do it, right? You may have mentioned that. So there's this quote that I remember seeing a long time ago. It was JFK asked Dr. Von Braun, what would it take to send a man to the moon and bring him back safely? And the head of the space program at the time said these 5 words: the will to do it. Like, that's it. Like, if you think about it, like, nobody knew how we're going to do it, what we're going to do, and what's going on. But if we have the will, we'll figure it out. And then from that will, you do have to go get knowledge, strategy, and you got to execute it, right? So it's like, well, they had to do that. That's what they had to do. They had to go figure out the knowledge of what it would take, what's going on. They had to put together a strategy, and then they had to put some poor soul in there and launch them out and hope it worked, right? Execute on it. So they had to execute on it, right? And they did.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it just comes down to, really just whatever level you're at or wherever you are, whatever, just the will to do it. Like the information, the knowledge, it's available. There's no excuses. Join a group, read a book, podcast. I mean, we're in the era of information. Like when I first started in the trades in 1997, 2000, like I didn't have half of the stuff available that I do today, right? To be able to
Right.
get information. Like I watch so many listen, watch videos on anything you want to know, it's available. So if you can't say you can't get the information, then you're lying to yourself. The
Hmm.
second one is a strategy. Like you can put the strategy together. Like you have friends and people you can talk to. And sometimes your family is sometimes not the best people to talk to because they might discourage you sometimes because they think they're protecting you. But
Yeah.
you can get a strategy together. There's templates for strategies. EOS, Traction is a great book to use for that to be able to think
Mm.
about how to put that together for traction standpoint. And then last but not least is like you just got to get you then you just got to go do it. Like wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you can do it if you just do it. If you don't know the numbers right now, figure out some numbers. Right? You don't know how to read a P&L right now, start reading it some way. Somebody ask a question, ask your accountant, ask somebody, right?
Yeah.
Do that. But I'll tell you this, like none of it, literally none of it has ever happened for me or anybody if you don't have the will to do it. It
Yeah.
just won't happen.
Hmm. Love that. I think that's a great way to end things. So, Aaron, for our listeners, how can they learn more about you?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm not really sure. I don't have any like personal page of stuff. I mean, I guess you can check me out on LinkedIn. I don't really do anything on there. I don't really have like a social media presence myself. I mean, most of it's been from being fortunate enough to connect with people like yourself that, have heard my story somewhere else and let me get in front of it. And many other people have came before me and shared great stories, but they can always email me if they have questions at aaron@ecoplumbers.com, aaron@ecoplumbers.com if you want to email me and see if there's something I can answer or help you out with. Other than that, I mean, check out our business website, see things we're doing. But I personally don't have any like branding platform. I'm not selling anything to anybody on any of
Yeah.
this stuff. I don't have anything. I do this because I want to give back. It's one of my purposes in life. I've wrote to myself is if I
Yeah.
make it up, then my goal is to share and give back.
Excellent. Yeah. And we'll definitely link to Eco Plumbers in the show notes so anybody can check that out. And we've got your email there too. Thank you so much, Aaron. Really appreciate your time and being on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me today. It's great.